So that's the dabbler. And again, if this resonates with you, I want you to stick around to the end of the episode because I will be providing some information about how you can download a free resource that will give you some specific tips on how you can, use your language learning type to your advantage. And I'll also be providing some resources that are good for your type. So make sure you stick around to the end of this episode so you can figure out how to grab that. So the second type of language learner is the nomad. And the nomad is someone who really likes to explore culture, who likes to travel. The nomad has probably already been to several different countries, or if not, definitely has a bucket list of places they would like to visit. The nomad may even want to move abroad one day, or may already be living abroad, or maybe has lived in other countries before. So this is a real sort of citizen of the world, someone who really likes to travel, believes that travel is something that can help you explore not only different places, but also different cultures, to get to know different people. And they approach language that way. They approach language as more of a tool to help them connect with other people and cultures rather than just sort of something they do because they just love languages. So the nomad very much is interested in travel. But one of their core beliefs that can be a little bit of a drawback is a nomad is probably someone who believes that you absolutely have to travel abroad to be able to become fluent in Spanish, right? That you have to move to Mexico for a year. Other than that, you won't be immersed in the language and that you won't be fluent. And that actually is not true. There's many examples of people who have moved abroad and never learned the language, just as there are examples of people who have never lived abroad and who have become proficient in several languages. It's all about sort of how you immerse yourself in your environment. So if you are a nomad and you have this very strong belief that travel is central to your language learning, I'd like you to challenge that and think about ways that you can create immersion environments for yourself at home, okay? Now, I won't say that travel isn't a fun part of language learning. It's just that believing that it's the only way to reach fluency is a false belief, but that tends to come along with this nomad language learner type. And they actually believe that even if there are other ways to learn a language, that the best way is to travel. And that's the best way for them to reach fluency. Now, how you can tell if you're a nomad, again, think about if you've told your friends that, I'm not going to be fluent in Spanish until, I move to Colombia and I just stay there for a whole year. But I can't do that right now because I don't have the money or the time. And I don't know the language. So, I'd have to go and figure it out. I don't know where I would live, but that's the only way I'm going to get fluent in Spanish. You also, can tell if you're a nomad, again, if you have this sort of list of places that you want to travel, like a dream list of places you want to explore, that you want to visit, or if you've already done a study abroad program or lived abroad, you probably tend to be more of the nomad language learner type. And really what can slow this type down is this tendency to focus everything around travel, because again, there are other ways that you can learn a language. And I'd like to challenge any nomads out there to think of different ways you can experience culture through doing more local travel or just going to places in your own community where you find people that are part of the cultures that you'd like to explore. All right, so those are some things that you can do if you are a nomad. The third one is the perfectionist. But before I move forward, I do just want to let you know again, make sure you check out our website after you listen to this episode, learnspanishconsalsa.com/134. That will give you access to a quiz where you can actually verify. So if you're listening and you're thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm a nomad, maybe I'm a dabbler, maybe I'm a little bit of both. We do have a quiz that will help you sort that out. So make sure you go to our show notes page, learnspanishconsalsa.com/134 to get that quiz and some resources that will help you regardless of what your language learning type is. Now, the perfectionist. This one is near and dear to my heart because I love my perfectionist. You can usually tell a perfectionist when they say, I can't really do this until I learn this. So, for example, I really can't have a conversation in Spanish until I learn grammar, because I can only speak in the present tense. I can't say anything in the past tense, and I can't have a conversation because everything will be a disaster. Oh, and then when someone starts talking, they just all talk so fast, and then I get lost, and then I don't know what to say, and it just all really scares me, and I don't want to do that at all. So I'm just going to study for like a year and wait before I travel or have a conversation or do the things I really want to do in Spanish. So if that sounds like you or someone you know, then you have identified a perfectionist. And really the downfall, or what slows the perfectionist down, is this sort of propensity to want to have everything figured out before they even begin. And I would stress to a perfectionist that the only way to really figure these things out is through the process. So in the process of language learning, as you begin to have conversations, as you begin to put yourself out there and make those mistakes, that is how you learn, and that will actually accelerate your progress. But many perfectionists believe that they cannot speak until they have perfect grammar, pronunciation. They probably don't have very strong conversation skills because they just haven't attempted to have many conversations because they're terrified of the idea of someone laughing at them. They feel very overwhelmed when they think about all of the grammar rules and vocabulary and different things that they have to learn. And that tends to put them in a place of analysis paralysis. But it's not all bad. If you're a perfectionist, you do have a superpower. And that is that you tend to be a very thorough and analytical person. This means that things like grammar will actually be easier for you to master once you get into it, because you will start to see those patterns that other people just don't see because they're not paying that much attention. But as a perfectionist, you will definitely notice a lot of those things. And you also care about proficiency, right? Perfectionist really does care about, being respectful to others, how they're seen by other people, and really getting it right, which is a noble quality to have. So there are some good things about being a perfectionist. You probably are going to be seeking resources that will help you make progress. You tend not to sort of just jump from one thing to the next. And if you do, it's because you're looking for that perfect thing, right? You're analyzing, you're trying to figure out, does this work for me? Does this work better? Does something else work even better than this thing? So you're constantly reevaluating that and trying to figure out what is the best and most efficient path to fluency. So you generally are not afraid to try new things, but you must be sure that it's worth your time before you do. You won't just jump in and buy a bunch of courses. You're really going to want to make sure that this process, this approach, this philosophy of language learning works for you. So that is how you can tell if you might be a perfectionist. And again, what slows perfectionists down is this idea that they have to get it perfect and figure it all out first. But you can use the superpower to your advantage.